This week's episode is brought to you by Bias. Bias. Everybody's got 'em. I love mine. Yours? You can work on yours. Hello and welcome to episode of Breaking Story. To Breaking to Story. We are your intrepid hosts. This is,
Brian McDevitt Jr.
and I am Phil Walker, and we are coming to you ready, willing, and very caffeinated on this a
Hmm.
Saturday morning. How are you today, Brian?
I am doing great. I'm very excited to get into this week's episode as we are analyzing one of my favorite television shows, Phineas and Ferb.
Phineas and Ferb, a minor cult show, I hear. I don't know if many people have heard about it, and I think even fewer like it. I don't know. We'll see. We got into it, we watched it. Let's see. It's the first time for both of us.
hmm
No one has ever really heard of this, so we're really kind of trying to get this thing some traction.
hmm
I think it could. I
Those.
think it could get an
Mhm.
audience. I don't know. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I'm just glad that we get to lift small-time creators like the Disney Corporation
Yeah, that's true.
and try to uplift their voices.
That's true. They really need it. I mean, they've had a hard go of it lately.
Yes, of course. But before we get to that, we have Act One to get into, which is now in three different segments. First, we're going to cover the news, then we're going to go into the trailer corner, and lastly, we will end with coming soon, maybe, where we look into what is currently in development.
Yeah, it's funny. We hope you enjoyed the multi-day post because that was absolutely not how we intended it when we recorded it. We were like, go ahead, Brian.
No, no, no. You were
Yeah,
explaining it. Yeah.
it was just like we were gonna be like Brian. So like picture it, 2025 June, no May 2020. No, it's earlier than that. It's like March 2025, and Brian's like, let's do a podcast. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And Brian had it all laid out, and it's so clever. Like, if you like the structure, it's because of Brian. He's really like put in a lot of hard work. And he was like, yeah, let's do it in like an hour and a half. I'm like, cool, that sounds good. We'll do it in an hour and a half. And then we finished the first episode, and it was like 3 hours. And he's like, I think that was about an hour and a half. And I was like, I think it may be a little bit more. And it was like 3 hours and 22 minutes. I was like, well, no one's gonna listen to this
hmm
shit. So I was like, why don't we chop it up into segments? And now we
hmm
have kind of, I think we've kind of figured out, unless maybe we'll get on a fight on air. But I think we've kind of figured out a little bit of a format, and we can run our mouths, and it's a little bit more content for all of you. I don't know. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, no, I love the idea of posting every day. I'm really excited to get into the 7 day schedule. We got into a good workflow, so I'm excited. I think it's going to work. The feedback has been really good.
Yeah, this is
Um,
shocking. I was
yep,
it was like shockingly good. I was like, okay,
yeah.
well, whatever. I mean, we may have to wait a couple of weeks, but like people tune in. I was
We
very
got a little bit of traction out of the gate, which is great. We got a couple comments. Tracy said nice in the comments,
oh yeah.
and Travis
And
suggested a show
Tracy,
to us.
Tracy, you are nice.
And then Travis suggested a show for us. I don't have my phone. I will reference it
It was
later in the
this. Yeah, it
show.
was a carnival, right?
Yeah, it was like something extraordinary carnival. You do some I can check my phone. You do entertain the crowd while I'm gone.
All right, I'll vamp, babe. But yeah, so we're really excited. We really had a lot of fun, and so we've kind of broken it up into a couple of different segments for your amusement. And I don't know, it was a lot of fun, and I think that I don't know. Whatever. See, I'm bad at vamping on my own. I
Well, I'm
I'm
back.
a writer. I'm a writer, Brian. You should have like now I know I got to come into every episode with some written material. That's fine. That's fine.
Mhm. Travis suggested the Amazing Digital Circus, so we will have to put that into our production schedule. So we're excited to do that. We will read and listen to your comments, so you should do that right now. And also like the video, like all the videos, and
Yeah, keep
hit
looking.
the subscribe button. Do all the YouTube stuffs.
And the more you
We
like it,
appreciate it.
the more you like it, the more we'll mention you. So keep liking.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're
There's
not.
something in this for you, is what we're saying.
Yeah, right. It's transactional. Like, what have you done for me lately? Well, I think I think that one of the things that I think that kind of like I hope
Mhm.
we can cultivate here is we're like filthy showbiz people, especially me. And like I think that even when you see like when you see stuff on YouTube, even when it's about the industry and there's a cat in the background,
Mhm.
it's they're like trying to be respectable. And they're trying to be like, and I really appreciate you, and like I'm totally not trying to juice you or monetize you. And we're like, we're trying to juice you and monetize you. I mean, but we're Hollywood people, so I don't know what to tell you. Like it's called the price of admission for a reason. So,
Awesome. All right.
so without further ado, would you like to get into the show, Bri?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Let's
great.
go.
Oh, why
Um,
don't you tell them before we do that, why don't you give the people, the lovely people, kind of a lowdown on what the format's going to be so that they know what to expect.
okay, so
Our
we are
the
going.
7 day schedule.
Oh, the 7 day schedule is what you meant.
Yes.
So on Mondays we'll be releasing the clip going over the news. Um, on Tuesdays we'll be releasing the clip that in Act Two where we go over general analysis and character analysis. Wednesdays will be the story analysis of the show we analyzed. Um, Wednesdays will be no, wait, I already said Wednesdays, didn't I? Did I already get screwed up? Thursdays
Just say
will
Wednesday
be
again, in case you didn't, because I kind of tuned out. So you said just say Wednesday again.
we're great podcasters.
Yeah, right.
Um
I stopped listening.
Wednesdays
I stopped listening.
Wednesdays will be story analysis. Thursdays will be us the brainstorming clips, and then Fridays will be the outlining clip where we create an outline of whatever story we just analyzed. And then Saturdays will be trailer corner, and Sundays will be the development segment. And so that will be our release schedule for any updates of what we're ever up to. Follow us on Blue Sky. We're going to be posting all the updates there at Breaking Story Pod. So check us out there as well.
All right. So that was great. Brian, you're great. Everybody's great, especially the people that like and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into it. Take it away, Bri.
All right. So, first article we have here is John Mulaney explains why he declined the offer to host the 2024 Oscars, and then he goes into some of his Netflix show. We just, after we learned that this guy is just like fighting teenagers and other nefarious things, we wanted to keep an eye on him, track him on the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah, we put a blue dot on John Mulaney. This guy's fighting kids. What's going on here? So,
And he claimed he was busy, which is why he didn't take the Oscars. And I mean,
I'm
I
too
get it.
busy
He
for the
taught three
Oscars.
teenagers.
Yeah, he's got to lay
He needed
low.
to train and get
Yeah,
ready
right.
and
That's true.
prepare. It was a 3v1 fight.
Yeah, there you go. That he lost. Although we talked about he should, I
You
don't know.
can't win them all.
Well, he claims that he lost, but like I feel
Mhm.
like that may be an ex like and like then
Do
we
you think he
even
took a
kind
dive
of
for the money? Did he Ocean's Elevens this?
yeah, he may to
He
feed his
walked out the
habit. I
back
don't
door with
know.
the betting gambling winnings.
Yeah, either that or he like he didn't want people to know. I mean, we kind of did a little cover for him too. I mean, right, where we said like, well,
hmm
he didn't want to like beat up a child on air, but maybe that was just maybe he actually lost to children. You never know.
hmm hmm Yeah, no, I mean, the podcast is going to have to continue tracking him as the story develops. We're just going to have to keep an eye on Mulaney.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Keep an eye on Malay, a new segment. That's going to be on Fraturday. That's our Fraturday afternoon
Yes.
stream.
All right, you want to go into the next story, Phil?
Let's do it. Oh, you want me to do it? Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I guess
Yeah,
I should do this one because I'm
yeah,
I'm
you
the
did.
reason
You
why
pulled
we're
it. Yeah,
covering this
you had
one.
opinions on this.
My bad, my bad. So there was this article I found, which is how the studio Yellowjackets, Monsters, and White Lotus make bad behavior appealing. And I was interested because we just covered the studio, and I was like, I didn't think Matt was that bad. So I was really curious about this. So I open it up and they have other characters there talking about how do you make like someone like Walter White likable or Tony Soprano. And then they just go into like Matt Remick for like a line. And they just say, well, he makes bad
He sucks
decisions when
too.
he's the CEO. And I'm like, why is Matt out here catching a stray? Like,
Yeah, well, that was interesting. They didn't show any real evidence, which is funny because I feel like they should listen to the podcast and I could have given
mm,
some evidence on like how he's not the greatest. Because like yeah, I mean we kind of had this discussion. We had this like back and forth. It almost ended.
hmm
It almost ended us. Where you were like, "Oh, he's being bullied." I was like, "He's a little bit of an asshole. Maybe he needs to be bullied. You know, who knows?" Um, yeah, but I guess on a I'd like to open this up to a little bit of a broader conversation.
Okay.
Which is like, yeah, I
hmm
I think that's true. The studio may not be the best example of it, but I feel like they say this as though this is a new trend.
Yes.
And even you just now kind of talked about how well Walter White and but it's also like John Draper. It's also like
hmm
characters in Community. It's also
Yes.
like The Sopranos. We've had like bad people in
Deadpool.
Deadpool. I mean, it's like this is not I well it's they're doing it so they can pump the shows. Like let's be real here.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's like my real critique of it, right? Like the why is Matt Remick in this lineup? His show in the article is the most recent show, and or at least the
yeah,
most
well,
recent that it's
I
had
know that. I
episode.
mean, I'm just trying to get
Yeah.
into the broader conversation, which
Oh
is
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, what do we think of this trend? I don't, there's treating it like it's a new trend, but
Mm,
it's like, I'm kind
yeah.
of like, this is, I mean, it's been like the era of the sociopath for like 20 years now. Like, I don't, oh, wow. Some of the characters on television are bad and people like to watch them. You know, I mean, we had it's like there's a cottage industry of serial
Mhm.
killer prestige shows. I mean, give me a break. What do you think of this
Yeah.
trend, I guess is what I'm asking,
I,
Brian.
I agree. I don't think it's necessarily a trend. I think it's more so it's just a trope people like. Like we like when a villainous person turns a new leaf. We like redemption, especially like Loki's an example. Loki's turned it around since he
Yeah.
first fought the Avengers. Like, so I think we like stories where people turn things around or people do nefarious things for good
I feel
reasons.
like that's nefarious people doing that. I don't know.
That's fair.
Uh
Everyone likes a good villain, Phil.
Yeah, but sometimes I like a good villain to be just a villain. I don't know what to, you know what I'm saying? I guess
Well,
that's my
that's
thing. That's what I'm
great.
trying to open. This is what I'm trying to open up. I'm
No,
not trying to, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's just like you can't, it's like because of this,
hmm
I almost feel like at times people kind of start to sympathize with villains and they kind of treat villainous behavior in real life like it's, you know, they're just,
Oh,
They're just one they're just one Coca-Cola commercial away from a total turnaround. That's a Mad Men joke.
I get what now I see your criticism of the entire idea in general. Yeah, no, I think it can
I don't have a
normalize
problem with the idea. I
or
love The Sopranos. The Mad Men is
no,
one of
no,
my
no,
favorite
no.
shows. So is Breaking Bad. I don't have a problem with it. It's just like I
Yeah.
think if we wallowed in it a little bit much.
No, I get that, and I think that's an interesting angle to take with it. And it's very I enjoy yeah, I like this idea. And yeah, it just it normalizes some behaviors that might not should be normalized, or it creates the idea that people can turn things around when it's not necessarily easy for them
Right.
to do so, or like it likely for them to do so. You might give people more leadway on their behavior than their actions warrant.
Right, it romanticizes it on some level.
Yeah.
And again, that's fine. Like The Godfather, like
hmm
you know, there've always been like
hmm
well, I was gonna say Angels with Dirty Faces, which that's that's a reference for the Zoomers. No, it's Angels with Dirty Faces is a movie from the 40s. Excellent movie. It has James Cagney in it. Phenomenal movie. It's about two kids who
hmm
grew up on the wrong side of the tracks, and one of them gets caught and one of them doesn't. And the one that gets caught becomes like a hardened criminal and a gangster, and the other one becomes a
hmm
priest. So, and like they're both like there for the soul of the street toughs from their same neighborhood. But I mean, and likewise, when we have that sort of thing, this has been a
Mhm.
critique of movies recently, especially Disney movies. Disney used to have like the best villains. But now they don't even have
Mhm.
villains. It's like the villains are like, and I like them in the movies I like, but like there's no villains
Yeah.
in like Disney movies anymore. And it's like the villain is like what is it? Entangled. It's like she like negs her, and it's just like, yeah, okay, cool, but that's no
Mhm.
and I enjoyed that, and I
Mhm.
enjoyed that villain. To be clear, I did like the idea
Yeah.
that the like,
But
villain
she
was
ain't
just neg.
Maleficent. She's
Exactly.
not that queen. She's not
You
that
read my
girl.
mind. Like I will
Yes.
bring them, make Maleficent great again.
Mhm.
Like that's all I'm saying. Um,
That's funny. And uh, oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to have more? You want to elaborate on this?
I want to go a little bit further, but you seem like you had something you wanted to say.
No, 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 no. Please.
Well, it's
Go
just
ahead.
like, and when we were working, I'm not gonna go all the way into it. When we were working on the pitch with the Transformers series, right?
Yes.
I was just like, there are times when I had to like pull you back, and I was just like, sometimes Megatron needs to be Megatron, and sometimes Galvatron needs to be Galvatron. Like, I don't need to know Galvatron's redemption story. Like, he can represent a thing that we overcome. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
no, we collaborated, and we found a really
Hmm.
elegant solution. I can't wait for you all to see
Yes.
it when we when we pick it. This was a shameless plug, by the way, for the work
Yes.
we did, but.
I'm here for it.
Like I just think that sometimes, I mean, look, movies and TV are not real life.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes you need to represent they're not, it's not, everything is not a human being that exists. Sometimes
Hmm.
they represent aspects within our personality. And like,
Yep.
look, I think it the exact same, I see both sides. That's all I'm trying to say.
Hmm.
Is,
Yes.
but, I don't want to be Pollyanna either. I don't want characters that are just like good and heedless. And like that's been a bit of an issue in this
Hmm.
era as well. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't tell you the number of shows that I've worked on, and they came out really well, but how, the whole thing was like no one could have a cross word with each other. And like again, the shows came out well because of the owing to the
Hmm.
talent of the people that worked on it, but it's just kind of like when we don't in our society allow for nuance, we get extremes. And I think that we're all kind of
Yes.
living in that right now. And we're like, why is everything so fucked up and insane and
Hmm.
extreme? I'm like, well, maybe we should put the extremes on the screen and stop romanticizing them in real life. That's all.
Yeah, I think that's a really nuanced perspective. I really thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'll be here all day.
And boy, you want a villain's villain, like a just there is no redemption inside of them. Phil, do I got the guy for you? We
Lay
have
it
an
on me.
article here that Harvey Weinstein is currently on his retrial, and his defense team are trying to argue he's the victim. He was abused.
Well, my favorite thing about this article too, is that like what was it that they said? It's like beyond the shadow of a doubt. Like it's
Mhm.
burden proof. It's like, and I'm like, when that's the best you got, that's not great. It's like,
No,
well,
Phil, you don't
you're supposed to
understand.
know you're like, well, I mean, we all know, but what you're supposed to know. I was like, what the hell is this?
Phil, you don't understand. The tree he jerked off into groomed him. The tree
Exactly.
groomed Harvey.
Right, exactly. Of course. Well, this is the point, right? Like, I mean, I just
Yeah.
think it's another case of another white man who's just trying to do his best, and you have all this woke fauna who are coming after him. They're fawning
Mhm.
on him. That's why excuse me, flora. Flora are plants. Fauna are
Yes.
animals. All this woke flora, like tangling their vines. I don't know. I walked into this bit not knowing where it was headed.
But like it's so beyond disgusting and like it's it's infuriating because we have this
Mm,
wave of people that are clearly monsters
right.
trying to use like the ambiguity of like anything's possible to justify their heinous actions.
Sure.
And he's not alone.
No,
Cuomo's currently running for mayor, pretending like he didn't confess to assaulting a bunch of women because he's Italian.
hilarious.
And before someone says I'm a bigot, he blamed his Italian mannerisms on why women accused him of assault. That's not on me.
Yeah, anyone who's mad at Brian, just remember he's Irish and you know how they are.
But yeah, no, it's just and like he's using kind of like that I think that kind of ties into what you were talking
Did he
about of
really
like
say? Wait, I'm
the
sorry. I'm gonna go back to Cuomo for a second. I didn't know about this. This
Mhm.
is news to me. This is breaking news. Do, 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 do. That's a reference for the Zoomers.
Mhm.
It would like he blamed it on being Italian. So like being Italian means that you like assault women.
No, legitimately, like he was just saying, well, I think it was like the idea of like we hug and we kiss and that's being Italian and then that's what he attempted
Sometimes
to
and
blame
sometimes the
his
kiss feels
assaults
like
on.
wait, and sometimes the kiss feels like a slap, and sometimes a hug feels like a black eye. But it's
I
hey, let's go back to our Rizzoli and Isles, babe.
I just he literally tried to use the caricatures to justify
Good for
his
him.
crimes.
Good
Like
for him.
I
I respect the hustle. Good for him. Yeah, you know what?
so
Just go all as a hey. What am I supposed to do? I'm an Italian. Sometimes we smack our
mhm.
wives around. I don't know what to tell you. Vote for me. Yeah, they just go all the way in. That's fine. It's like
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
commit to the bit. If you're
Yes.
going to do it. Well, or maybe, or
um
maybe it's this is when Phil gets canceled. I am being canceled by the woke mob. I'm gonna lead it off by saying this. I was like, or if you're gonna do it, then at least you have to do the accent while you're doing it. That's all. That's my hot take. Is like if you're gonna if you're going to do that, then you
you have
gotta
to
do the
sound like
accent.
Mario.
Right? Exactly.
You have to sound like a Super Mario brother if you're going to blame your Italian heritage for why you
Yeah.
assaulted dozens of women.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I think that's fair. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
fair.
that's a fair trade. That's a fair deal. We can make it.
Right. Right. We'll see. Well, Cuomo hit us up, but first like and subscribe.
I
Um,
I
I
just
shouldn't have
I
said hit. I know.
yes. But going back to the original monster
Wait,
that started
before
this,
we
what
before we get back to
Mhm,
Weinstein, have you
mhm.
ever seen Brian? Have you ever seen the Super Mario Super Show from like the early 90s?
Super Mario I know of it. I don't know if I've seen an episode.
It's my favorite thing because it predates like because with the it's a me, a Mario, that
Yes.
thing. Like that's from like the N64
Uh-huh.
game. But that show predates it, and they would just have this guy like dress up like Mario and Luigi, and so like they hadn't. It's so funny. It's actually more woke than that game, which the game is less
Mhm,
woke because like they just talked.
mhm.
I think he said, "Hey, paisanos," but like it was just kind of him going like, "Hey, it's me, Mario." Like he just talked like a normal human being from New York. It was so. It's funny that something in like 1990 was a little bit more progressive than what we actually think of now.
That's funny. And so, yeah, die in prison, Harvey. That's all I gotta say.
Hilarious.
Like that's what you
Brian,
deserve.
he's right
And
behind you.
I just, yeah, die mad. I don't know. Just, yeah, rot in.
Fair enough. That's Brian's hot take right now. Harvey
Okay.
Weinstein. All right, moving on. I don't.
Yes.
I can't.
So
I have nothing to add. And so what's the next one?
the next one is we're gonna have to t put the tone down because it's a sad story, and it is. I know we're a pretty uplifting show, but sometimes you got to cover some uh, not so pleasant things,
Right.
and that's like part of being a writer. Sometimes you have to dig into pain and be uncomfortable, and we thought this story was important to discuss. So would
Yeah,
you
and
like?
I
Mhm.
initially, it was interesting too, because initially I was kind of like, my take on it was the general consensus take, and I was like, I don't know, I think it was important to cover, but I didn't know what
Mhm.
we were bringing new to it. But I have to say, you really did have an interesting take, a very thoughtful take, I thought,
Mhm.
very nuanced take. So why don't we kind of lead in? I'll lead it in, and then we'll do your take. Then why don't you go into your take? Does that sound good?
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
So, I think by now a lot of people are aware of the killing of Jonathan Joss, the King of the Hill voice actor who played John Redcorn. He was also on Parks and Rec. I mean, you've seen these guys like omnipresent. And I don't know, he was a very beloved figure, not only in the industry,
Mhm.
but kind of in his own life. There's been a huge outpouring, and it all kind of, and he was killed by a neighbor. So why don't you, so go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, John Redcorn seemed to have been dealing with like several layers of tragedy in his recently, which was it seems his house was burned down due
Right.
to arson, due to homophobic targeting. His dog seemed to have been murdered, and the murderer confronted Joss with a weapon, and Joss died. Did I saying? Wait, is it John? It's Jonathan Joss, right?
It's Jonathan Josh. It's Jonathan Josh,
Okay,
yes.
okay. And I think what it outside of the immense tragedy of this, the big takeaway is we're living in a moment where people like this feel emboldened, where
Hmm.
people like this have been convinced and told that the rainbow flag is grooming children, is assaulting children. And so this person felt it was appropriate to go into a conflict with a weapon and that people would be on his side
Right.
whether he was mentally unstable or not, that is what I would be willing to wager was on his brain. And
Oh, I
so
agree. Yeah, 100%.
this is why you can't and you need to push back against narratives that are harmful and dehumanizing because people then feel emboldened to engage in stochastic terror, basically.
No, I agree. And it's also, you raise an excellent point too, where they've been trained to think, or they feel emboldened. I think it's a better way of putting
Hmm.
it. I think that's the way you put it.
Hmm.
To say like, oh, the pride flag is grooming, but also Charlie Kirk. You don't, when it comes
Hmm.
time to release the Epstein files, you don't want, you're all of a sudden you're explaining everything away, which I find interesting.
Hmm.
To be honest with you, getting a few with me, it'll raise my views.
Yep.
Um, I, I
Hmm.
find I don't watch it around anyway. So
Hmm.
be mad at me. Like I don't give a shit. Um, we don't really go into politics. We talk about like humans, like because we are writers and that's what we do is we get into humanity and sort of
Yep.
inhumanity that's been on display for certainly the past decade. Your politics aside is quite disgusting.
Yep.
And like I said, but also then you explain away the Epstein files. So, there's lots of
Yep.
names on it. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
Yeah.
it's one or the
Yeah.
other. Either the pride flag is grooming and you want the Epstein files open, or you just don't talk about it and you run your mouth about Mr. Potato Head. Um, another aspect too, and you kind of mentioned this when we were having our kind of pre-show or doing our
Hmm.
rundown on this. He was going through a lot, and also he was an indigenous gay man. So maybe he
Yep.
was there. Could there be a reason why he was angry? You know what I'm saying? Are there four
Well,
factors in the universe in this country that could potentially lead to him being angry? That's all I'm asking.
yeah, and so the audience understands what you're getting at right there. Basically, one of the justifications that are coming out to justify why, and I learned this from you, is that they're trying to claim that Jonathan was aggressive and angry with his neighbors and picking fights as well. And yeah, I'm with you. It doesn't matter if he was. That doesn't justify the murder. That
Right,
doesn't justify why you came into the conflict with a weapon.
right,
Why you thought it was okay to bring a weapon to this conflict.
right.
Like like so yeah, it just that's what you were referring to.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like to me it's just kind of like again, bring whatever politics you want. I don't care. Like I have
Hmm.
friends all over the spectrum. Brian
Yep.
does too. We don't, we have our politics and we're allowed them and you're allowed it as well. But I think the thing that we care about, and I think that there are a lot of people, I think that this would be
Hmm.
the majority of people, is just come into the conversation in good faith. And
Yeah.
so, like, don't pretend and don't railroad and don't try to act and don't pretend as if and don't speak. And if you're going to come at it, we're going to come at it with a nuanced take. Because
Hmm.
again, as writers, we like to see we don't we try to look into how people react and behave and it's and expound and expand. So like we're not going to get into flame wars with you.
Yeah.
We're not going to play like identity politics and stuff like that. We're not going to
Hmm.
be we're not going unless it's funny. And if
Yeah.
it's funny, oh, we're going to go. So and a lot of times that pulls away from and lessons the actual human tragedy, which is that a human being is, and beyond even his, the reason we're talking about it is because he is an entertainer and he is an actor. But the truth is, he was at before he was all of those things, and even when he was all of those things, he was a human being.
Yeah.
And every time a life is lost, it's a tragedy. And so we should treat that with due respect. That's all.
Absolutely. And the thing I'll add is I'll have a conversation with anyone over politics and I'll be as nuanced and going into things as well. But on like topics like this, we as allies, like you don't give an inch. You don't like that when we're discussing a person's humanity, you
Right.
don't give anyone an inch because the moment you relinquish one group, they will go for the next group.
Right.
We stand in a line or we all fall. We
Yeah.
are arm in arm or we all fall. And I think that leads us to our
The
uplifting
palate
element.
cleanser.
Yes. That would you like to intro this one? We just had a hero step up and be an
Yeah.
ally, and it was a really fun moment.
Yes, he's always been great too. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just
Nick
phenomenal.
Offerman.
Yeah, I was getting there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nah, just kidding. Nick Offerman slams anti-gay Parks and Recreation meme. Dumb. Do you want to give the people tell the people?
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, I don't recall who the
Describe it.
person. I don't
No,
recall who the person.
don't even play. So just
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
what the
Yeah.
meme was.
Exactly. Some was like, "This is me during Pride Month or when Pride Month starts," and it was the meme of Ron Swanson and throwing like the computer in the dumpster. And Ron responded to him, called him a dumb, and then said, Ron Swanson was the best man at a gay wedding. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. And one, hell yeah, like stand up, like that was a good move. And then the other thing that I like about this is that um people try to reappropriate
Yeah.
the characters that left-leaning people create. And this is something that always ticks me off. No, they are our characters. We
No,
created them. They are ours. You
I don't,
cannot have them.
I don't,
So that's the
I
other
don't know.
end of
I have
this
a,
that I really like from Offerman.
I guess for me,
Hmm.
a little bit of a disagreement, which is I
Okay.
am of the belief that once art is out there, it belongs to everybody, but that doesn't mean you can take it out of context. As I
Yeah.
guess that would be kind of my take on it because like look, Ron Swanson is like a right-wing libertarian sort of character, but he's
True.
supposed to be the best version of that. So you're not supposed
Yes.
you're not allowed to like take out of context without like removing the nuance of the character himself. Like people will like bad actors will take it and reappropriate it and show like one
Yes.
thing, and then you think that oh Ron Swanson was a fascist. Was a fascist. No,
Yeah.
Ron Swanson wasn't a fascist. And also the point is that he like grew and learned to love the people he was working with. Like you know, artists, excuse me, t television specifically is really good at showing growth.
Yes.
And it's you don't, you know, it's like don't I guess for me it just goes back to good faith or bad faith. Like don't come
Yes.
at it in bad faith. Like it's supposed to be for
Yeah.
everybody. Don't take something that was trying because you like look, there are people who are in the industry too who are conservative and you wouldn't realize
Yeah.
it. You think that they're lefties, but they're not, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I have been in many arguments with them, trust me.
Yeah. And not to say that
I've
none of them
argued in the I
can.
was like, oh, you don't you mother you moron. I'm like, you're an idiot, you don't understand anything. But like at the end of the day, it's supposed to be what's best for the audience, right?
Yes. No, I agree with that. And like you can definitely have a reinterpretation or re-examination. I just, as you know, fascists can't create art, they can only steal.
Exactly.
And That's my
Exactly.
thing. And I guess to be more specific, I was referring to fascists trying to take our
Yeah.
characters, and they cannot have them.
Yeah,
They
they're
are
like,
ours.
yeah, it's like yeah. Like, I once there was a guy I worked with, I won't, and he was definitely on the like libertarian train. And there was because Chelsea, you never know, right? There was one time, I swear to
Hmm.
God, I texted, we were working on a show together, really nice guy. Um, and maybe we'll bring him on one. I haven't talked to him in years. We had a falling out, a falling out in like 2021. He was a sort of like, what about thought diversity? And I was like, what is the diversity that you think? Like the gay people shouldn't have rights? I mean, what? I don't know what's. And like it was so funny though to show the nuance is like there was one it was like a Christmas and I like texted him I said just for you I'll say Merry Christmas. And he responded back,
Yes.
well, I'm actually Taoist. And so I'm like, all right, I've never seen a libertarian Taoist. That's interesting. So I mean people are nuanced, right?
Yes.
I still didn't love all of his takes, but but like
Yeah.
people are this comes to it, right? It's we're all humans in here. So this
Mhm.
reminds me of one of my favorite anecdotes too, which was what's Mitt Romney? Does anyone remember what Mitt Romney's wife's name is? I don't. But
Uh, Anne. Anne.
and she was like a big fan of Modern Family. And she one time said in
Mhm.
like the press, she was like, I would love to be on an episode of Modern Family. And the creators were like, we'll let you have a part. You can officiate Mitchell and Cam's wedding. And it's like to me that's expert trolling.
Yeah.
Like if you want to play, play. But like you got to play
Yeah.
by our rules. That's all.
100%. I love that, and what a wonderful note to end on. That's the news.
So that's the news you can use. It got a little political. But that's good too.
Writers have to not be afraid about getting into real issues.
Yeah,
Well, it depends
and
on the genre, but that's you and I are those type of writers that go
yeah,
into the
and
nitty
then
gritty.
like yeah, I mean like well, I was always it was funny too. Like now I'm like
Hmm.
enlightened centrist, but like I used to be really known for doing like political satire and stuff like that. I was like I was to like a speck of Veep that someone actually thought aired. It was very I was
Hmm.
flattered. But like it's that's I I, I just yeah, I don't know. It's easy for me to get into it, which is why I try to pull myself back. So that's been the news. We hope you enjoyed it. And okay, we'll see you tomorrow for Phineas and Ferb. Have a great one and we'll talk to you then. Bye. Do you have anything to say, Brian, before we go? All right.
Remember to put your notes and pitches in the comments, and we'll read our favorites on next week's show.
And hey, while you're at it, why don't you hit that subscribe button? Let's build this community together. Oh, also, the bell icon's there, so why don't you ring my bell so that you never miss any updates?
And the like button too, Phil. That's important.
Oh, right, yes. Thank you, Brian.